Hello, how is everyone doing today? I hope everyone's doing okay. Okay, can we talk about the currently running two summer events? I'm talking about Summer Echo, which at the time of the recording of this video is currently playable in Revived Witch Global server, and the second summer event, Isle Adventure, also currently playable but in the Chinese server of this game. And for those who might have missed Isle Adventure event, that event was one of the earliest events in the game. If you're currently playing Summer Echo, you will undoubtedly notice the similarities between that event and Summer Echo. When Summer Echo was released, I initially thought it was a rerun of Isle Adventure. However, it turns out that it wasn't. Some assets were evidently reused from the previous event, which I want to emphasize is not in itself a bad thing. And yeah, it seems Revived Witch team reworked them into this new one. Since they did that, that means half the work was already done. So did the half work they put into finishing this one lead to a better version of the previous one, or a glaringly inferior one? That is what I want to examine here. I want to dissect these two events, put them side by side, and try to compare them as fairly as I can. Okay, let's see if this new Summer Echo event is an improvement over the old one, or is the old one, Isle Adventure, still in the lead for best event in Revived Witch, even over the new one. There are actually a lot of content in both events, so doing a 1 to 5 numbered comparison wouldn't work. Instead, I'll go through these two events following the same flow of how they unfold during their gameplay, and talk about things when they become relevant. Oh, and I guess I'll give points to the better event. That should help with keeping a track of which event did things right more than the other. Events typically start with a mini dialogue. You'd see two characters or more pop up on the screen, exchanging few lines to get the story going before you can move on to the event area, if there was one. It may seem silly to stop at a story's intro, but these first few lines should make you look forward to the story. However, I often find these few dialogue lines to be stiff, and they read more like an instruction manual than a group of friends who are usually familiar with one another conversing. So how did these two summer events do in this area? With Isle Adventure, I feel like the dialogue is as clunky as always. It starts with Tama and Akasha discussing a nameless island, presumably because of the sea elf rumors, until the witch comes into the conversation and suggests to go there. And in Summer Echoes, Erna hands the witch a message sent by Eurydice, inviting the witch to meet her on the island, and that's why the witch goes there. So for this event introduction segment, Summer Echo did it better, so this first point goes to the new summer event, because besides the dialogue sounding more natural, the motive behind the trip to the island is more believable, while in the older events it's like a video game reason, you know, not really a fully thought out reason. It's more like an excuse for exploring or going to an area, you know what I mean? Okay, moving on to the island now. In both events, we're barred from playing anything pretty much until few storage stages are cleared. This gating of content, which event did it in a more annoying way? I'm not trying to be funny, this really takes away from the gaming experience for me. I think I know why they do it, but I don't like it, so. In Summer Echoes, after you read part of the story, a building named Market gets unlocked, That place have several playable stages, and that's it. 2 more buildings with their playable stages remain locked until a specified date. So half of the event shop will be accessible, as well as the place where you can get a stamina refill. In contrast, in Isle Adventure, the event shop and stamina refill place aren't automatically unlocked after reading part of the story. No, you get the option of unlocking them and upgrading the shop, which grants you more things in the store to purchase. And pretty much everything is locked, but everything can be unlocked, by playing the event. Something worth noting here is there are 2 gameplay areas, a daylight one and a nightlight area. Whichever of them you're in, it locks you there until you complete few tasks. Then after you progress through the story even some more, you're no longer constrained to one single area and you can move between them freely. I've talked about how much I dislike being stuck in a day or night area in Isle Adventure, but when you compare this to locking things for days, Summer Echo gets a negative point just for that. And we're back at 0 for both events. Now let's lay down all the things that can be interacted with after unlocking everything in those 2 events, excluding the story levels. Isle Adventure has the following: beach stand, that's the event shop; snack stand, a stamina refill; display rack. This place gives you the option to boost various stats of your party, plus it gives you the option to increase the drop rate percentage from stages. And then we have watermelon smashing and 3 different places to collect resources from, all 3 of them going up to 8 levels and 3 more in nighttime. Lastly, there is a challenge crustacean mode. Hopefully I'm saying that right. While in Summer Echo there is souvenir shop, which is the event shop; cold drink stall, a stamina refill; market, that's the first playable stage that gets unlocked. It has 5 levels total. Then 5 more stages from castle mode, and 5 more in challenge mode. Clearly there are more things to do in Isle Adventure, or at least more levels. This may not mean much if it's just busy work, but I guess I'll give Isle Adventure an appreciation point. I'm grateful for all that's in there. I prefer to not be done with an event, a 7 days event, in 10 minutes. But yeah, more doesn't equate to better. So let's delve into the playable mods in each and see which one is more fun. The 8 level stages in Isle Adventure, both in daylight and nighttime, are very straightforward, starting with few enemies in early stages, and then with each level the difficulty and the number of mobs you fight increase. So it doesn't play any differently than most of the content in the game. Same thing with Summer Echoes, Market, and Castle mode. There are 2 modes that felt somewhat new and fresh. The first one is Watermelon Smashing in Isle Adventure. In that mode, the game measures how much damage you can do in a set time. And although Revived Witch took the time to animate those watermelons, they don't attack you. They don't attack you back. I think the target in the last stage of this mode does, though, maybe. The second mode is in Summer Echo, which was called Challenge mode. It's like Intangible Barrier, except better, but shorter. There are slight differences, of course. For example, before even starting, you get the option to choose several boosts for your team. And after each battle, you have the option to choose a card that will either benefit your team but won't give you extra points for those sweet rewards, or you can pick a card that will hinder your team's abilities but will give you extra points. Now that everything is all laid out, I'm gonna go ahead and give this better gameplay point to Summer Echo. It is embarrassing how much time I wasted in that challenge mode. It almost gave me carpal tunnel syndrome. I was truly engaged. I even started trying several weird team setup. Because yeah, in that mode, when one of your characters dies, they actually stay dead, so it's actually a challenge, And Isle Adventure Watermelon was Again, it's another thing I kinda talked about in my previous Isle Adventure review, so my feelings about this mode didn't change. So we've talked about the story's beginning, but what about the rest of it and the characters? Well, first let's focus on the characters. When it comes to the characters that were released with these two events, if we take them out of the story and look at their design and skills, between Isle Adventure Soigitsu and Simret and Summer Echo's Danny Lim and Shiroi, I'd say it's a tie. I like all their design and I think they have a pretty good skill set. I mean, Echo gave us the best mage in the game, and Isle Adventure gave us one of the best guardians in the game, so... Okay, let's divert back to the story and see how were these new characters and other older characters in the context of the story. Out of all the characters in Isle Adventure story, I found Simret to be a standout character in that one. I thought she was quite endearing. The rest of the cast were so-so, and some didn't get enough lines for me to form an opinion about them, like with Soigitsu. But when it comes to the characters' interaction, like with Akasha and Tama hanging out, plus Shuffle and Yuthaya, it felt like a crossover with characters from another game, i.e., yes, now they're talking, but I don't quite buy or understand why they would be around each other. Meanwhile, in Summer Echoes, Angling stole the spotlight. I really end up liking her a lot. And I'd say Echo had more fleshed out characters and more believable interactions. So this point goes to Summer Echoes. Moving to the overall story within these two events, when I compare the substance within each story, I find myself leaning more towards Summer Echo. The story is significantly shorter than an Isle Adventure, but I feel like it's constructed better and it's more focused, if that makes any sense. And again, the dialogue is better, clunky and weird, but at least it has a purpose rather than characters talking at each other and accomplishing nothing at the end. I think all of this because Summer Echoes take this chance to establish these characters and build them up in a believable way, while in Isle Adventure the characters there are treated as if we know them, so we're supposed to believe and accept without knowing why that Akasha can have a casual conversation with Tama and that Shuffle is obsessed with the witch. Anyways, Echo has the better overall story, in my opinion. Okay, let's speed this up. Store content: free SSR doll in Isle Adventure, none in Summer Echo. Boo! Boo! New skin. For Isle Adventure, we got Akasha, Shuffle, Tama, and free Yuthaya skin, plus a free Nocturna skin, which wasn't originally released with this event in CN, but it got released alongside the global release of this event. In Echo, there is Tonal, Nanner, and a free Oshpaya skin. Quantity aside, you see that Akasha skin in that mix, right? I don't need to say anymore. Point goes to Isle Adventure. I promise you, them tying in the end wasn't intentional. I guess that gets to show you that each Summer Echoes and and Isle Adventure both have their right moments. So in certain aspects, Echo is an improvement over Isle Adventure, but it's such a light event in comparison, so I can't even bring myself to praise it any further, to be honest. If I had to choose one regardless of the score, I'd say Isle Adventure. Like, I'd take Isle Adventure over, what's it called? Summer Echoes, because it feels more like a traditional event, like a full event is what I mean. Anyways, I guess this is a late disclaimer, but yeah, hopefully my commentary doesn't come across like I'm bashing the game or the devs' efforts, but I thought I'd point out the differences, see which parts were an improvement and which parts were kind of like a step backward. So just to discuss things. So I want to hear your thoughts on those two events as well. Or if you disagree or agree with anything I talked about in this review/comparison video. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching.